He stared at the book as if it were breathing. It was her favorite, Wuthering Heights, the one she'd read 100 times, the one still faintly smelling of her perfume. His wife had been gone for almost 2 years now, but tonight, for some reason, Daniel Hart, CEO of one of the largest real estate empires in the country, had felt a pull to open it again. He didn't know why. Maybe because loneliness had finally found a voice in the silence of his penthouse. Maybe because grief, like the ocean, always comes back in waves when you think you've learned to swim. When he flipped to the middle of the worn pages, something fluttered out, an old envelope, yellowed, tucked between chapter 12 and 13. His name was on it. For Daniel, when you're ready. His heart stopped. Her handwriting. Emily's handwriting. He didn't move for almost a full minute. The city glittered outside his window, cold and alive, but he was frozen in time. When he finally tore it open, the letter inside trembled in his hand. My love, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't tell you in time. There's something I never had the courage to say. I hope someday you'll forgive me for the secrets I kept. Go to the old library in Crestwood. Ask for someone named Lily. She deserves a better life. Help her if you can. You'll understand when you see her. Daniel's breath caught. The library. Crestwood. Lily, his wife, had never mentioned anyone named Lily before. Who was she? And why did Emily, who had always lived a transparent life beside him, leave such a mysterious message? That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Every tick of the clock gnawed at him, and by dawn, he had made his decision. He would go to Crestwood, no matter what he found there. The small town was nothing like the glass towers he ruled back in the city. Crestwood smelled of pine and rain. People walked slowly. The library stood like a memory, wooden, cracked, filled with whispers of old paper and dust. He asked the librarian softly, I'm looking for someone named Lily. The woman behind the counter blinked, then pointed to the children's section. She's over there, reading to the kids. Comes every afternoon. Daniel turned and froze. She was young, maybe late 20s, with tired eyes and soft brown hair tied in a loose bun. A little girl sat in her lap, giggling at the story. The woman's voice was gentle, full of life, and her smile, something about that smile, it tugged painfully at a memory he didn't know he had. When the story ended, Daniel approached. Excuse me, he said carefully, I'm looking for Lily. She turned to him, a bit startled but polite. That's me. I think you knew my wife. Emily Hart. Her eyes widened, and something like sorrow flickered across her face. Emily, yes. I knew her. He waited, but she said nothing more. Did she ever mention me? Or why she told me to find you? Lily hesitated, biting her lip. She helped me once. When no one else would. I didn't think she'd tell you. Tell me what? Lily looked down. She used to come here every month. She brought books, food, and she paid for my daughter's school fees. She said she wanted to do something meaningful before it was too late. I didn't know she was sick. Daniel felt a lump rise in his throat. Emily had battled cancer quietly, refusing pity, working till her last breath. She'd told him she was fine even as her strength faded. And now, even after death, she was still reaching out, still helping someone. Why me? He asked softly. Lily's eyes glistened. Because she believed in second chances. For people who'd lost everything. Her words cut deeper than she knew. Over the next few weeks, Daniel kept returning to Crestwood. At first, he told himself it was out of obligation to complete whatever unfinished kindness Emily had started. He donated to the library, bought supplies for the children, helped Lily fix her leaking roof. But slowly, it became something more. He found peace in the simplicity of it, the smell of old books, the laughter of children, the way Lily listened when he spoke. Lily's daughter, Emma, began to wait for him by the door each day, holding up drawings she'd made. One afternoon, she handed him a crumpled paper that said, "You smile more now." And she was right, but beneath the calm surface, both Daniel and Lily carried storms. Daniel still wore guilt like a shadow for the years he spent chasing money instead of moments with Emily, for being too busy to notice her pain. Lily carried shame for a past that had broken her. She'd once trusted the wrong man, been left with debts and a baby. Society had looked down on her, and survival had made her strong but lonely. One evening, as rain lashed against the window, Daniel found Lily crying quietly by the library steps. Lily, he said softly. She shook her head. It's just hard sometimes. Bills. Work. Being enough. He knelt beside her. You are enough. She looked at him, eyes wide and searching, and for a moment, the silence between them said everything. I don't understand, she whispered. Why do you care so much? He hesitated, then smiled faintly. Because she would have wanted me to. And because. I think meeting you was her way of saving me too. Months passed, and what began as a mission of closure became something like healing. Daniel funded a new children's center in Crestwood, naming it Emily's Place. Lily became its director. The community flourished around them, and for the first time in years, Daniel felt like he was living, not just existing. But life has a way of testing hearts when they start to hope again. One morning, a journalist ran a story about the CEO and the single mother. Whispers spread. People questioned Lily's motives. The board of Daniel's company grew restless, accusing him of losing focus. The pressure mounted, threatening everything they had built. When Lily saw the headlines, she tried to pull away. "Daniel, I can't ruin your name. You've done enough for me. I can't be the reason you lose everything." He took her hand firmly. "I've had everything money can buy. And it meant nothing. But this, helping you, helping them, it's the first thing that feels real. I'm not walking away." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "You're just like her, you know. Emily. She believed in people even when they didn't believe in themselves." He smiled sadly. "She taught me that love doesn't end. It just changes form." Years later, the once broken library had become a thriving center of hope. Children played, laughter filled the halls, and a portrait of Emily hung on the wall, a woman who had changed lives even after her last breath. Daniel often sat on the same bench outside, now with Lily and Emma beside him. The girl had grown taller, and she'd started calling him Uncle Dan, though sometimes, when she hugged him tight, it felt like something more, a quiet promise of family reborn from Lost Point. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, Lily whispered, "Do you ever think she knew this would happen?" Daniel looked up at the fading light. "No," he said softly. "But I think she hoped I'd finally find the part of myself she always saw." He smiled, this time not out of grief, but gratitude. Sometimes, love doesn't end with goodbye. It begins again, in the lives it touches after we're gone.